Hey, English learners. Welcome back to the English Mint Podcast. Learn daily, speak fluently. I'm Adam.
And I'm Hana. Stop pausing the podcast. Stop opening another tab. Look at me or listen to me right now. You are trapped in a lie. You think you are improving your English because you watch Netflix in English. You think you are getting better because you listen to podcasts while you wash the dishes. But you are not. You are completely paralyzed. You are stuck in the intermediate graveyard, and if you don't wake up right now, you will die there.
Whoa, Hana. The intermediate graveyard? That is incredibly dark. I watch Netflix in English all the time. I understand almost 90% of what they say. That has to count for something, right? It feels like progress.
It feels like progress, but it is a comfortable illusion. You understand 90%? Congratulations. A dog understands when you tell it to sit. Does that mean the dog can speak English? No. You are confusing passive entertainment with active skill, and this is dangerous. Every day you spend just listening, you are tricking your brain into thinking you have done the work. You haven't done anything.
That is brutal. But I do the work. I study vocabulary. I have flashcards. I spend 30 minutes a day reviewing new words on my phone.
Flashcards? Are you a robot? Do humans communicate by holding up pieces of paper with translations on them? No. This is where people fail. You memorize a word on a screen, but your mouth has never physically produced that sound in a real stressful conversation. Your brain knows the word, but your tongue does not.
But I need words to speak. If I don't know the vocabulary, I can't form a sentence. I have to memorize them first.
You already have the words, Adam. You have thousands of words trapped inside your head, but here's the truth. You don't have a vocabulary problem. You have an access problem.
An access problem? What does that mean?
It means your brain is a massive library with no librarian. The books are all there, the words are sitting on the shelves, but when a native speaker asks you a simple question, the lights turn off. You panic. You run around the library in the dark looking for the right word, and by the time you find it, the conversation is over.
Wow. Okay, that is exactly how it feels. Exactly. Someone asks me my opinion in a meeting, and I know I have the vocabulary to answer, but my mind just goes completely blank. It is terrifying. I feel like an idiot.
You feel like an idiot because you are translating. You hear English, you translate it to your native language, you form an answer in your native language, and then you try to translate it back to English. It takes 10 seconds. In a real conversation, 10 seconds of silence is a lifetime. People lose respect for you. You're being left behind every single day because you are too slow.
But how do I stop translating? It happens automatically. I can't just turn off my native language. It's my brain.
Yes, you can. You are just lazy. Most people will miss this, but fluency is not about knowing big, fancy words. Fluency is speed. Fluency is rhythm. It is better to answer quickly using basic A2 English than to answer 10 seconds later with perfect C1 vocabulary.
Really? Better to use simple words? But I want to sound smart. I want people to respect me at work. If I use simple words, I sound like a child.
You sound like a child right now when you stare at them and panic with your mouth open. Listen to me, the smartest people in the world use simple language. Complexity is a shield for the insecure. If you ignore this, you'll pay for it in your career. You will watch people with worse English than you get the promotions, get the clients, and get the money. Why? Because they are not afraid to speak simply and quickly.
That actually makes me so angry. I have seen that happen. There's a guy in my office, his grammar is terrible. He makes mistakes constantly, but he never stops talking and the boss loves him.
Because he has energy, he has rhythm. He is not a prisoner to perfect grammar. And the biggest mistake is coming. But first, you need to understand why you are stuck. You are a perfectionist.
I just don't want to look foolish. When I make a mistake, I feel my face get hot. I can see the native speaker notice my mistake. They give me this little look. It destroys my confidence.
Let them look. Who cares? Are you learning English to impress strangers with your perfect present perfect continuous tense? No, you are learning English to get what you want. English is not a skill, it's leverage. You use it to negotiate your salary. You use it to solve a problem. You use it to connect. If the message is delivered, the grammar does not matter.
Okay, English is leverage. I like that. It changes the goal. It's a tool, not a test. But still, how do I actually fix the access problem? How do I get the words out of the dark library?
You force them out. You stop doing passive activities. No more Netflix with subtitles. No more easy flashcards. You need to simulate the panic of a real conversation alone in your room.
Simulate the panic? Why would I want to make myself panic in my own bedroom? That sounds awful.
Because comfort is why you are failing. If you only practice when you are relaxed, drinking tea, clicking a button on an app, what happens when you step into a loud room with a real human being? Your heart rate spikes, you freeze. You must train in the panic zone.
Okay, how do I do that? I don't have a native speaker hiding in my closet to scare me.
You use the 1-minute stress test.
The 1-minute stress test. Okay, I have a pen. Tell me what it is.
You pick a random, difficult topic. Why the internet is ruining society. What is the biggest problem in your industry? Why your favorite movie is terrible. You set a timer on your phone for exactly 60 seconds. You press start, and you must speak out loud, nonstop, until the timer rings.
Speak out loud? To myself?
Yes, and here is the rule. You cannot stop. Even if you make a mistake, even if you forget a word. If you forget a word, you describe it. If you forget the word wallet, you say, the leather thing where my money lives. But you cannot stop making noise.
That sounds really hard. 60 seconds feels like a long time when you're just talking to a wall.
It is exhausting. Your brain will burn. You will sweat. You will feel stupid. Good. That means it is working. When you do this, you are forcing the librarian to run through the library and grab words instantly. You are building the muscle of fast retrieval.
I can see how that would help. But what if I am making grammar mistakes while I talk to myself? Won't I just learn bad habits? I don't have a teacher there to correct me.
Stop making excuses, Adam. This is why you are stuck. Oh, what if I make a mistake alone in my room? Record yourself. Do the 60 seconds, record the audio on your phone. Then, when the panic is over, listen to it. You will hear your own mistakes. You will realize, I forgot the S on the third-person verb.
Oh, listening to my own voice? I hate the sound of my own voice in English. It sounds so weird and foreign.
Everyone hates their own voice. Get over it. This is how you take control. You become your own teacher. You identify your own weaknesses. You don't need to pay someone $60 an hour to tell you that you forgot to say the. You already know it.
You are right. Whenever I say something wrong, I usually realize it a second later. My brain knows the grammar rule. My mouth just doesn't follow it.
Exactly. The knowledge is there. The physical coordination is missing. Speaking is a physical sport. It is muscles in your face, your jaw, your tongue. If you don't practice the sport, you cannot play the game.
But this is not the worst part, is it? I feel like there's another trap. I try talking to myself sometimes in the shower, but when I actually meet a person, it's totally different.
Yes, because talking to yourself is a monologue. Real life is a dialogue, and the biggest mistake is coming right now. Pay attention.
I'm listening.
When you finally get into a conversation with a native speaker, what do you do while they are talking to you?
I listen to them, obviously. I try to understand every word they are saying so I don't miss the point.
Liar, you are not listening to them.
What? Yes, I am. I stare right at them.
You are staring at them, but inside your head, you are panicking about what you are going to say next. You hear the first half of their sentence, and then your brain completely stops listening and starts building your reply. Okay, they asked about my weekend. I went to the park. The park was beautiful. I will say the park was beautiful. You are rehearsing.
Okay. Wow, you read my mind. Yes, I rehearse. If I don't prepare my sentence before I open my mouth, I will mess it up. I need to prepare my answer.
And this is dangerous, because while you are rehearsing, they are still talking. They give you a joke or an important detail, and you miss it. Then they stop talking, they look at you, and your rehearsed answer makes no sense.
That has happened to me. They laughed, and I had no idea what was funny, so I just said, yes, I agree, the park was beautiful. And they looked at me like I was crazy.
Because you were not in the conversation. You were in your own head. This is the ultimate trap of the intermediate learner. You think fluency is about having the perfect response. Fluency is about presence. You must be present.
But if I don't prepare my answer, I will hesitate. I will say and ah.
Say Native speakers say thousands of times a day. We pause, we look at the ceiling, we take time to think. It is normal human behavior. Only English learners think they must sound like a pre-recorded audiobook.
That is a relief to hear, honestly. I feel so much pressure to be a machine gun of perfect sentences. But how do I practice being present?
You use the last 3 words rule.
Last 3 words rule. Okay, what is that?
When the other person is speaking, you forbid yourself from thinking about your answer. You force your brain to focus completely on their face and their words, and you make a game out of it. You must catch the last 3 words of their sentence.
Just the last 3 words? Why?
Because if you are trying to catch the very end of their thought, you cannot mentally wander off to build your own sentence. It anchors you to the present moment, and usually the end of their sentence contains the core question or the main emotion.
So if they say, I went to this amazing restaurant downtown and the steak was perfectly cooked, I just lock onto was perfectly cooked.
Yes, and instead of launching into a pre-planned story about your own dinner, you use those last words to continue their thought. You say, perfectly cooked? What kind of steak was it?
Ah, that's the echo technique again. We talked about that before. It connects perfectly. I don't even need to invent a new topic. I just bounce their own words back at them.
Exactly. But most people will miss this because their ego is too big. They want to sound interesting. They want to show off their vocabulary. Stop trying to be interesting. Be interested. If you are deeply interested in the other person, all the pressure to have perfect English disappears.
Stop trying to be interesting. Be interested. I need to write that on my mirror. It takes the spotlight off me and my bad grammar.
It flips the dynamic. But here's the truth, Adam. You can know all these tricks. The 1-minute stress test, the last 3 words rule, you can know them, but you won't do them.
Why won't I do them? I want to get better. I am motivated.
Motivation is garbage. Motivation lasts for 20 minutes after you listen to a podcast. Then you go back to your old habits. You will open YouTube, you will find a video called 10 idioms to sound like a native speaker, and Motivation is garbage. Motivation lasts for 20 minutes after you listen to a podcast. Then you go back to your old habits. You will open YouTube, you will find a video called 10 idioms to sound like a native speaker, and you will feel productive again. It is an addiction to fake progress.
Ouch. You are really attacking my YouTube history right now. But learning idioms is good. Native speakers use idioms. If I say it's raining cats and dogs, people will know I have good English.
Nobody says it's raining cats and dogs, Adam. You sound like a textbook from 1995. This is where people fail. You memorize obscure idioms instead of mastering basic phrasal verbs. You want to run before you can walk.
So I shouldn't learn idioms at all?
You learn them when you need them. You do not collect them like Pokemon cards. If you want to take control of your English, you must change your identity. Right now, your identity is struggling student.
Well, I am a student. I am learning.
No, you are a user, a practitioner, an English speaker. As long as you call yourself a student, you give yourself permission to hide. Oh, I can't speak up in the meeting. I am just a student. My English isn't ready yet. It is a pathetic excuse.
It is a defense mechanism. I admit it. It feels safe to be the learner. If I claim to be an English speaker, then I have to actually perform. And if I fail, I have no excuse.
Finally, some honesty. Yes, you are afraid of the responsibility of being a speaker, but if you ignore this, you'll pay for it forever. The world does not reward learners. The world rewards doers. You must step into the arena.
So how do I change the identity? I can't just wake up tomorrow and magically feel like a confident native speaker. The fear is still there. My heart still beats fast.
Let it beat fast. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is acting while you are terrified. Start small. Tomorrow, you will not watch Netflix. Tomorrow, you will do the 1-minute stress test. Tomorrow, you will go to a coffee shop, and you will not just point at the menu. You will ask the barista a question.
A question? Like what?
What is your favorite thing on the menu today? Simple, open, it forces an interaction. But what if they talk too fast? What if there is a line of people behind me getting angry? Let them be angry. This is your life. This is your leverage. You are fighting for your future, and you are worried about a guy behind you waiting for a cappuccino. Wake up.
You are right. I care too much about strangers. I am letting complete strangers dictate my progress.
You let everyone dictate your progress. Your boss, the barista, the internet. You have zero control. This is how you take control. You decide that the awkwardness is the price of admission. You pay the price or you go home.
Pay the price of awkwardness. It's like going to the gym. The muscle soreness is the price of getting stronger. If it doesn't hurt, you aren't growing.
Exactly. But you have been going to the gym for years and just watching other people lift weights. It is time to pick up the heavy bar. Stop consuming, start producing. Stop studying, start speaking.
Hana, you leave me exhausted, but you leave me with no excuses. I know what I have to do. I have to kill the perfectionist inside me. I have to embrace the panic. I have to actually speak.
Words are cheap, Adam. Let's see if you actually do it. Most of the people listening to this won't. They will nod their heads, leave a nice comment, and then go back to their silent, comfortable, failing routines.
Well, let's challenge them then. I know there are people out there who feel this exact same pain. The frustration of being trapped in the intermediate graveyard. The fear of sounding stupid. The addiction to fake progress. Let us know who you agree with. Comment Adam if you understand my struggle and you know exactly how it feels to freeze in a conversation. Or type Hana if you prefer the brutal truth and you are ready to stop making pathetic excuses and actually take control of your English today. We are going to pin the best comment. We will see you all next time on the English Meant podcast.
That's our show for today. Thanks for listening.
We appreciate you tuning in. Make sure to hit that subscribe button.